One.
Welcome everyone to the Side Draft Podcast. Even though we're late, we're still here to review the Martinsville race. And our excuse for being late is we didn't have a Martinsville clock, so we
couldn't keep up with time.
Yeah, so sorry about that. We went to Martinsville in person, and it was just really tough getting it in on time. And it was a pretty exciting race. To start off, we had Kyle Busch winning the pole. He looked to be one of the strongest cars in the field. And then to start of stage one, before the race, Martin Truex Jr. failed inspection. He would have to go to the rear of the field. Brad Keselowski, unapproved adjustments. He would have to start from the rear of the field. Kyle Busch, of course, leading early. That, just getting the pole is just a huge advantage for at least the first few laps. He had a pretty sizable lead there.
Yeah, that clean air really helps the car, and you can kind of get out in a nice little lead.
And then you start catching lap traffic, which we saw Kyle Busch would run into them. By the time we got to lap 31, Denny Hamlin would be right there on the back bumper of Kyle Busch. Then we had the first caution for Jeb Burton in the 51. He had a front right tire go down, and into the wall he went.
Yes, that would frighten me too.
Yeah, it was. It's Halloween. It's frightening. Then during that caution, we had the 88, Alex Bowman. I need to stop with these Halloween puns. Alex Bowman's penalty, too fast exiting. So, getting a penalty on pit road is pretty scary. Kyle Busch would lead off from the pit road. He had the Halloween style paint scheme, looked really awesome out there. We had a caution for the 48. He wheel hopped and spins around.
Yeah, I think he got in turn 3, got a little too hot or something, spun around. I believe he hit
I believe
hit the 20 car. So,
yeah, I noticed Eric Jones had this huge dent in the back of his bumper there. But like it was.
Eric Jones probably like, what are you doing?
Yeah. So Eric Jones is probably one of those cars, with the way the back end was. You do not want to get side by side with him because you could end up blowing your tire out. Denny Hamlin would get the lead within 15 to go, and he would cruise to a stage 1 win. So that's really good for him. Hasn't won a race yet. Looking forward to getting that first win, getting a stage win, and maybe he could get that one in Martinsville.
Yeah, he had a really good car. I mean, he's showing a lot of speed right there, and to run down Kyle Busch, and I think he really likes Martinsville too.
And Joe Logano would finish second, Kyle Busch in third, and I think those three were like the classes of the field. Of course, you got the 14 there and the 41. They were right there as well. Stage 2 would begin, and as we talk about the 14, he would run into the 24 in the pits, spinning the 24 around, and we had some damage on the 14.
Yeah, the 14's coming out of his pits, the 24 going in, and it's real tight pit road, and it's kind of happens sometimes.
Uncontrolled tire for the 12 of Ryan Blaney, which sparked some controversy on Twitter. A lot of people did not agree with that call. Blaney didn't even agree with that call. So
yeah, they really didn't show any footage of the uncontrolled tire, so nobody really knows. And I was actually listening to the radio of Blaney's and Jeremy Boland's. He was like, we hadn't seen video really proving it was uncontrolled or not. So nobody knows if it was uncontrolled or not, but they did have to go to the rear of the field because of the penalty.
The phantom uncontrolled tire. No one knows if it exists or not. We saw it there in person. His pit was like right in front of us. I didn't really see it, but of course NASCAR has better eyes than I do, I guess.
Apparently so.
Joey Logano would lead on the restart, and he just got up to a huge lead there. Timmy Hill in the 66 would pit, and then he would take the jack with him. A little souvenir, I guess.
Yeah, I guess he needed little more wheels under the car there.
If I need new wheels, I got the jack with me. So the 3, Austin Dillon, would have a flat tire and he would get to the pits. Should have brought the jack with him.
Yep.
The 95, Regan Smith, also flat tire. It's weird, all these flat tires just randomly started happening in the course of...
Yeah, I believe there's burning that right front up, getting in the turns, and off it's going up the track and just wearing that tire out.
Logano would lap up to 15th, and 50th position was Harvick. He would get the free pass at the end of the stage, and that's a lot of concern being one of the big 3. You got a lot of stage points, so it doesn't really matter where you finish as long as you finish, and getting the free pass was big for him.
Yeah, it was unfortunate for Ryan Blaney. He never did get his lap back, and he fought good all day. He just got mired back in traffic and never did really get. That one pit stop really hurt him.
Yeah, track position's really important here. If you get towards the back, and you gotta have like a super great car to get your way back up there. If you have just a good car, it'll never see the light of day ever again.
Yeah, because he was battling top 5 most of the day up until that pit stop, and then he just kind of wore his car out trying to get around all this traffic back there.
Ryan Newman was speeding on pit road, and he was pretty exciting to watch out there. So a lot of people get really angry with him, give him a lot of their front bumper, and
they'd pass him and he'd pass them back, and pass him back. So it's like, can I ever get past him?
And then Harvick made that comment that his car was as wide as his neck. So that was pretty wild comment, and pretty true when you look at it, because Newman is a tough guy to pass.
Yeah, he's gonna make you earn it. So.
Then Logano continued to lead, and then Truex, coming from the back, would try to take the lead from him. He would eventually get around Joey Logano. We had rain threatening. From the stands, we felt a little bit of rain, and then it just went away and we saw rainbow.
Yeah. And
Bubba Wallace would blow a tire and went to the pits. So no caution out for him, but there would be a caution out for the 24, who would just spin it around. I believe he got into somebody or some sort of issue happened with the tire, and he just spun around.
Yeah, I might see it on Twitter that he said something about the brake rotor just blew apart. So.
And that happened to him at the Roval testing. He just plowed right into the tire barrier there, and something that maybe that team ought to look at for next year.
Sometimes that's the brake, so.
Yeah. Truex would lead after that caution. Joe Logano would take it back after a few laps, and it seemed to look like Joey had a better longer run or a short run car, and Truex had a longer run car, and Truex would fall back a few positions there as Timmy Hill got a little cold there and
starting a bonfire in his car, and like, it's chilly up here in Martinsville.
Grab out the marshmallows. He would hop out of his car, and that would bring out the caution, and all the fans went down to the track and had some s'mores.
Yeah, it's like, hey Timmy, you got any s'mores? So he jumped out of his car and took off running down pit road.
He went to go get the s'mores, and when he got back, it was all gone. They took his car. So. Sad day for Timmy Hill out there. We would have a caution for the 42s trying to start the fire back up. Yeah, it's crazy of how much bad luck the 42s had as soon as the playoffs started. Of course, he's not in the playoffs anymore, but still, that bad luck is still happening to the 42.
Yeah, I believe if the 42 car was Superman, this is his kryptonite.
Yeah.
When you go to start the playoffs, that's your kryptonite. Because him, like, all through the season, he runs good, leads laps, and then all of a sudden playoffs get here, and he just dies out.
Yeah, came close to being eliminated at the Roval, and of course had all those issues at Talladega, and then goes to Martinsville and just blows up. We had a long caution cleaning the 42's remains off the track, trying to get the car back up on the on the truck and take it home as a souvenir.
Yeah, you sure have. Why does have such trouble? I mean, they had a record, and I don't know if they couldn't get it up, and they brought the roll back out there, and so.
Yeah, at least we got to see it. They brought it around, let all the fans see the car, so that's pretty cool to see all that process. And we would go back racing after a long time. We had Joe Logano leading on the restart. And then Brad Keselowski, where did he come from, of course? He would take the lead all of a sudden, and he would get out to this huge lead that no one's been able to do all day, and no one could catch him. Joe Logano was holding up Denny Hamlin and Kyle Busch, and looked like Brad was going to check out, was going to see the American flag wave again.
Yeah, because Brad, he was almost like half a straightaway ahead of anybody.
And then caution would come out for the 14 after he would make some contact with the 48 and the 19. Had some 3 wide issues there, and that's something you never want to hear at Martinsville, is you're going 3 wide.
Yeah,
especially in the corner.
Yeah, it's unfortunate for Boyer to get spun like that, and when he got spun around, the leader went right past him. He's like, "I'm a lap down now." So
yeah, not good to start off the playoffs, especially when you got Texas and Phoenix, a place where the Big Three's been dominating almost every time they went. But also, you could say the same thing about Kansas, and a non-Big Three won that race.
Yeah, I thought the 14 would be pretty strong here at Martinsville, but
yeah, he was running. He was running up there until that issue with the 24, and I guess the 24's teammate got back at him. I guess maybe.
Yeah.
Just had like some sort of issue with the 19. Didn't want to give up any in the corner, and 48 didn't want to, and yeah. And we would have Logano leading after that restart. Brad Keselowski would pass Kyle Busch for second. We had a nice battle between the 2 and 22. And
yeah, I thought Brad might have got around him, and if Brad did, I don't think anybody could have caught him.
Yeah, I think Brad's car got really tight there and couldn't really make the move on the 22. And I thought that he probably wouldn't want to try to risk anything. Didn't want to try to wreck his teammate there. He just wanted to play like a little defensive mode, trying to keep the 18 and the 78 away. And the 78 would just come alive there, and he would make his way up to second, finally getting around Brad Keselowski. He would battle for the lead, and then we had like side-by-side racing for like 10 laps.
Yeah, a little beating, banging, not much, but a little bump here, bump there.
Truex couldn't get around Logano. Even when he did, Logano would surge back on the high line, or it's technically the high line, but it's not really because it's not banked there. The outside, and just awesome Martinsville style racing. I don't see why anyone would hate this type of racing. It was really exciting to watch. No one really had the clear advantage. Even Truex on the bottom didn't have the advantage, and Logano still was able to surge on the outside. And coming to the final lap, it looked like Truex finally got around him. He was going to win finally at a short track. Joe Logano gives him the old classic bump and run. Truex on the outside. It looked to me like Truex just trying to gas it up way too much and trying to turn into Logano to slow him down just a little bit. Just way too much. He lost it and lost the race.
Yeah, I believe if he would have straightened his car up and raced, drag race down to the line, I mean, he might have won. Who knows? Just it's unfortunate. We can say what we want to because we're not in the car. I believe that was just good racing. All day is really good racing. Everybody's like, we want side by side racing. Well, here you go. Then you get a bump around at the end. Oh, we don't like that. Well, what do you want? You can't have your cake and eat it too. I just think it's good racing, no matter, if you like the driver or you don't like the driver, I think it's still good racing.
Yeah, I'm coming to the point where I want to respect every driver in a certain way, and even if I don't like the driver and they won the race in a awesome, epic fashion, I would applaud them because it's racing. We have to respect good, hard racing.
Yeah, because if Joey don't make that move, then he's like, Joey, why didn't you give him a bump or something? And then if he does give him a bump, well, why did you bump him for? So, so every driver out there, if you're in the same position, they're going to bump the guy in front of them. Just, at least try for the win.
I think, if I was driving, I would rather regret the way I won than regret the way I lost.
Yeah.
So I would rather, look back and, man, I shouldn't have done that while I'm polishing my Martinsville clock.
Yeah. Because if he didn't, at least try to get a run on Truex or bump him, at least try to go for the win. Then he'd go home like, man, I should have done this. I should have done that. But you got a split second to decide what you want to do. I don't think Joey did anything wrong. I think every driver out there would have done the same thing.
Yeah, and it's just hard racing, and I believe that track has a lot of passionate fans. We saw a whole bunch of passionate fans out there screaming at the top of their lungs. That was cool to witness.
Yeah, it's exciting. A lot of you got some boos and some yays. So I don't know. It's fun to be at the track and be in the atmosphere and just enjoy it. But it is awful funny that the two tracks we went to this year, Truex wrecked in the final turn there.
Don't worry, Truex, we're not going to Homestead. Well,
unless there's a team out there who wants us there.
Hey, Logano, if you want to win the championship,
we'll be glad to go to Homestead if you just pay our ways.
A plane ticket, hotel room would all be appreciated.
We won't say no. So
yeah,
just thought I'd put that out there because we was at the Roval and Truex got took out and Penske won
both races. So here's our open invitation, as we did last week for something.
So either a curse for Truex or a good luck for Penske.
I don't think we should have said that because now Truex is probably going to hunt us down, and he is going to beat us up.
Well, I'll try to get his autograph before he does.
Wait, before you punch me in the face.
Oh, I'm sorry. Here, can you sign this?
Truex will be like, yeah, Adam and Steve, you won the dang war. I mean, you won the dang battle, but you ain't gonna win the war. You ain't coming back in 2019. But anyways, we're going to talk about Texas Motor Speedway, which is next week. It is the second race in this round, and it's a place last time Kevin Harvick won that race, beating Martin Truex Jr., who's been unbeatable at mile and halves, and we saw that turn point there in the season. But Truex hasn't been as great on mile and a half so far this year, with the exception of Kentucky, which is laid out just a little bit different than traditional mile and halves. The last time was at Texas. Kyle Busch ended up getting the win over Kevin Harvick, so Big Three's pretty good here.
Yep.
And also, there's no Chuck Norris on our podcast for next week, sadly. Couldn't make the right connections there, but we're trying. So, as we make our Texas picks, who are you going with?
Well, you got to pick one of the big threes, And I'm going to have to go with Kyle Busch. I believe he's getting some momentum right now, and I believe he's going to win at Texas.
And I'm going to have to go with his greatest enemy right now, not Brad Keselowski, the 4-car of Kevin Harvick, because it's a mile and a half. I finished 1-2 here last time. I think they're just the best at mile and halves, and the reason why they haven't been winning is they've been beating themselves. And this is where it matters most, and they're going to put their foot on everyone else's throats. So
it's time to bring out the big guns. Here, Texas.
everything's bigger in Texas, especially the big three. So, win and you're in. If one of these big three can win the race, I think it helps the other two in the big three because they really don't want Chase Elliott or Kurt Busch winning this because it just screws the points up a lot, and one of the big three would not go to Miami.
Yeah, I believe right now Truex and Harvick's about tied.
25 points, yeah. Points. So it's going to be a battle between him and Truex if one of the four out right now wins this race. So it's going to be a great battle. And you don't want to go fight Kevin Harvick at Phoenix. That's like his house. He owns the place.
Yeah, because there's only 3 spots left, and there's only the big 3 left, and so.
Which Kyle Busch is sitting in a great spot right now. I think Harvick and Truex, if they can't win, they're really rooting for Kyle Busch because he's in anyway.
Yeah, he's 40-some points up. I mean, it's very unfortunate. You think he'd be out, but all he's got to do is maintain.
Yeah, and really, if Truex has been kind of okay throughout the year. He's a part of the big three, but I think that's mostly because he won championship last year, and he's been dominant at some tracks, just not everywhere. He hasn't been as dominant as Kyle Busch and Harvick. So really, it would be disappointing if Busch or Harvick do not make it to Miami because they definitely deserve the championship.
What if a non-playoff driver wins in Texas?
And then nobody goes to Homestead, and that's another spot up for grabs.
And they fight it all out at Phoenix.
And Phoenix has, or ISM Raceway has this new configuration no one's ever really raced on. They moved the start-finish line, and we might see another Martinsville style wreck / beating and banging to the finish.
So watch out, Truex.
We're not going to be there. Again, unless you guys...
He just go to that final turn and I'm going to make it. I'm going to make it.
He looks up at the stand, sees us there, and dang it. They might actually pay us to not go to any more races. But anyways, that is all we have for this week's podcast. Stay tuned tomorrow, actually, for our Halloween style live stream. I don't know how we're going to implement Halloween. Technically, this one was with all the puns, but we'll see you then.